Hey, good morning GX community. This is GX Bob coming to you guys again to do a complete brake hardware replacement, brake rotor replacement, brake pad replacement. I'm going to introduce to you guys a neat little gizmo that's going to help us with our brake job. And I'm not just going to replace our brake rotors and our brake pads. I'm going to replace them with slotted cross-drilled rotors. They are aftermarket, obviously, because Lexus doesn't make this. But everything else that you see on this table right here is through Lexus. I bought all of this at Bell Lexus in Arizona with free shipping. I'm going to add all of these part numbers for you in the following slides, okay? And everything is Lexus OEM, even the brake pads, minus, you know, the disc brake quiet, the brake parts cleaner, and I also have brake parts lubricant because we are going to replace all of our guide pins, all of our slide bolts and all that. A lot of people that are doing the brake jobs, all they do is either replace the rotors and the brake pads and they stop right there. I am going to be replacing everything to guarantee your brakes will not squeal when you put your wheels on and you hit the road, okay? But before we even start any of that, I wanted to share with the internet universe a heartfelt email I received from a person sitting in a hospital in the Midwest. Give me 2 minutes, guys. Out of your busy day, give me 2 minutes. I want to read this email because I feel like I owe it to him, okay? He's been binge watching all of my videos, and thank you if you're watching this. I'm going to keep it short. It says, GX Bob, been following you for a very long time. I don't own a GX, but me and a couple of patients here thoroughly enjoy your vids. And this is why I think he's in the hospital and he's been sitting in a hospital bed binge watching all of my videos, okay? I'll get to the point, he says. Can you shut the fuck up and get to the point? Some of your intros are like watching paint dry. So whoever wrote this email, I hope you have stage 6 testicular cancer and they're going to have to cut them off, okay? So let's go ahead and start this video, guys. Bam! Go ahead and start with our rear caliper assembly. We're going to be removing. I'm going to go behind here So your caliper assembly is going to come with two parts, one that sticks with the vehicle and one that you can remove to remove your brake pads. Okay, we are going to be removing both in order to take the rotor out. First, we're going to be removing this piece right here, this part of the caliper assembly, and it has two 17 millimeters in the back of here that's holding this whole entire piece right here to the whole entire caliper assembly. Let's go ahead and remove it. These slide pins we are going to be throwing away because we bought brand new ones. Go ahead and wiggle it, and we're going to set this right here on our axle. Now we're going to take both of these brake pads out. Just wiggle them out. Look how worn they are. Pretty ground down, huh? You could use a flathead screwdriver if you want to pry these out. I was able to take them out fairly easily. Now we are going to be removing this assembly right here. We're going to have two 17 millimeters right here that we're going to have to be removing. From here, we are going to take these metal clips, there's 4 of them, that hold the brake pads in, and we're going to be removing them because we are going to be replacing them with brand new ones. I'm going to take my old caliper, I'm going to sit it on top of an upside down pail right next to my rotors right here so it doesn't hang on its brake line right here. I'm going to leave it right here because what I'm going to do right next is I'm going to push this piston back so we can install brand new thicker brake pads. I'm going to take my old brake pads because it's thin. I'm going to place it right here on top of the piston. I'm going to take my piston pusher tool. I'm going to turn it counterclockwise until this piece touches this brake pad, and the other end, this plate right here, is going to go on the back of this backing plate. There you go. Now I'm going to turn clockwise and lock it in. What I'm going to do now is turn this clockwise, and this is going to decompress and push the piston out. Keep turning clockwise until this bottoms out to the caliper. Once this bottoms out, you can go ahead and turn this counterclockwise. To release the special tool out of your caliper, take it out, set it aside, take your old brake pads, throw it away. Next, we're going to go ahead and release the e-brakes right here, because we want this to be able to spin. The e-brakes is what's pushing these drum brakes outward to keep this in place. We want this loose. Now, normally you can shake it out with your hands, but if it's a little tight, so if you guys are still stuck and it's rusted shut, there is another alternative way you can remove these stuck rotors. Just go to the back right here and you're going to see a 12 millimeter bolt that's holding your brake line. Do me a favor and remove it. Remove this 12 millimeter bolt that's holding this brake line assembly right here from the rear of your rotors. Go back over here, take the same 12mm bolt, and go ahead and place it in these holes right here. You got two of them, one right here and one directly across from it, and you're just gonna go back and forth and drive it in. Don't go all the way in on one side because you want it to teeter-totter out, okay? So you're gonna go ahead and place this in there, and you're going to slowly drive it in, back and forth, take it out, go to the other hole, drive it in. You'll see some movement, go back and forth. And there you go, it's loose now. Let's go ahead and take this out. Do not forget to put this bolt back in its place behind here where that brake line is. I'm gonna go ahead and install it back right now because we're not gonna need it anymore. Folks, now that we have everything out, you are gonna go down here. You're gonna see a spindle gear. It's like a star looking gear, and if you flick it your way, it's gonna make these two brake drums expand out, which is gonna grab the inner diameter of your new rotors. But if you don't flick it this way and you flick it the other way, down here you flick it the other way, what it's gonna do is it's gonna take these brake drums and it's going to collapse. So it's easier for you to take the rotors out. Okay, so what we want to do is we're going to put the rotors back on here, and what we're going to try to do is create a drag. We don't want it too loose where our e-brakes right here is going to go all the way down and it's not going to grab onto your rear brake drums. Okay, so you're going to want a sort of drag in order for these e-brakes to have less play, not too much play. You go underneath here, you're going to see a star gear right there. This is the spindle gear I'm talking right here. We're gonna go ahead and take our brand new rotors and we're gonna spray it clean. Wait about 10 minutes, let it dry. We're gonna flip it over. Do not touch the surface of your rotors. That's gonna make contact with your brake pads. Inside too, that's where your brake drums are. Now we're gonna let all that evaporate on its own. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and put my rotors on here, and I don't want it to go on too easily. I want a slight drag. If I'm not getting a slight drag, I'm gonna take that spindle gear underneath here and I'm gonna flick it my way to let it expand. All you need is just 1 or 2 clicks for it to expand fully, okay? So let's go ahead. I wanna place it on here. See how loose that is? That means my brake shoes are not hitting the surface of this inner diameter right here. I want it to drag onto the inner surface right here in order for my e-brake to be effective when I use it. I'm gonna go ahead and flick it a couple of times. I'm gonna put it back on. Now I'm feeling for the play. See how my e-brakes only went halfway down? It didn't go all the way down. I got rid of the slop just by adjusting that spindle gear. Okay folks, next you're gonna take your part of the caliper right here and you're going to take your brake clean and you're going to clean it up really good. Spray it up. Spray it up, take a wire bristle, take down all the dirt and grime off of this and then just let it dry, let it evaporate on its own. Now you're going to take these fittings right here. They're going to come with 4 per side, okay? These fittings go exactly where the old metal fittings go when you remove them. Okay, these are the brand new fittings. How do you install this? Well, it only goes in one way, guys. There's a small channel that fits into each of these 4 small channels right here. But there is an orientation that you need to remember to take in order to install this, or else you're going to scrape your rotors, okay? Both sides should not look alike. One side has this little clip hanging out and one side is just flat. The flat portion goes towards the rotor. That's common sense, because if you take this side and put it towards the rotor, it's going to scrape the rotor, right? So, where is the rotor on this thing? The rotor is in the middle. So wherever this clip thing is right here, it's got to be facing outward or inboard. Okay, so let's go ahead and install these. Okay, let's see, go right here. There you go. That's one side right there. It snaps right into place. There's another side right there. Turn it upside down. Let's do the other side here. It snaps in and it's pretty tight, guys. It's not going to fall out of place. Even if I shake, it's not going to go anywhere, okay? So don't worry about that. Just remember, these clips has a big channel and a small channel. The small channel is the one that clips into here. There you go. And one more to go. And there you go. All 4 clips are in. Okay, let's go ahead and set this aside. Now we're going to take your rear brake pads. You got 2 per side. Okay. Just follow the curvature of this, and you see your brake pads also has a curvature. You're going to follow it, and it's going to sit right inside of these brackets right in here. Just like that. There you go. Falls right inside these brackets just like that. But there's one more thing that we need to do, okay? The kit comes with these little squeal attachments. What we're going to do to this is go ahead and take a look at it. It's not that hard to do, guys. When we install this, we got to face, we got to face that sharp edge towards the brake pads right here. It's got to stick out that way. So when your brake pads wear down, it's going to hit that little clip right here and it's going to make a squealing sound, okay? It's got to go in just like that. Let me turn it at all angles so you guys know what I'm talking about, okay? And I'm only going to do 1 per side, okay? That's all you need. The other one is going to go to the other side, my passenger side, okay? So I'm going to put this on my driver's side. So here are my 2 brake pads that goes with this caliper setup right here. Next, we are going to have our shims, our steel backing plates right here, okay? We are going to apply anti-squeal onto here, onto the backing part. Any surface that's going to touch those brake pads and any surface that's going to touch our calipers or our caliper assembly is going to get a layer of this. It's supposed to dampen the vibration so you don't get that squeal, okay? So let's go ahead and apply this. We already know that these clips right here is going to go facing towards these brake pads, okay? And it's going to go just like this, and these 2 clips right here is going to snap right into place. So we know that if we apply the anti-squeal on here, we're going to get a lot of squeeze out, so we don't want to overdo it. So let's do a nice layer in the middle. Have some paper towels handy, guys, because this does get a little messy. This kind of gets tacky in about 10 minutes. Okay, so let's go ahead and hook this up here. There you go. See the squeeze out I'm talking about? Squeezes right out. At this point, you want to get a paper towel and clean it up just a little. You don't want to get any of it on this surface, okay? Just on the backing plate of your brake pads. So you're going to do the same thing to the other side. Here you go. There you go. Now, do you apply the anti-squeal on this side, the one that's going to be hitting the pistons and the one that's going to be hitting the other part of the caliper? You do, but only on certain areas. The areas that's going to hit the piston and the area that's going to hit the surface area of the calipers, okay? You don't have to do the whole entire backing, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. Now, if you take a look at this caliper assembly right here, you're going to see that the inboard side is going to have a round piston, and the outboard side is going to have just these two platforms. These are the only three surface areas that are going to hit your brake pad. So these are the surface areas and the contact points that you're going to need to apply your anti-squeal to. So let's go ahead and go back to the brake pads. One side is going to get the piston. The piston is dead center and it's going to go right in the middle right here. So we can go ahead and apply some right here. And while that's getting tacky, we can go ahead and do the other side. The other side, you're going to have two contact points. Okay, one on this side and one on this side. That's all you're going to need to do. We're going to let it sit and let it get a little tacky before we install it. Okay, folks, next, while this is getting tacky, we're going to take our calipers right here and we are going to lube our metal brackets. The reason why we're going to do this is because our brake pads are going to be sliding back and forth along these metal brackets, and that is another point that's going to cause a squeal. Okay, so we're going to need to lube it really quick. In the past, I have been using a really reputable lube made by a company called RATTLE. But for the sake of this video and for my current sponsors, we are going to be using PISTON brake parts lubricant. We're going to take a little dab. It's purple, so don't worry about it. Just take a little dab, put some at each corner right here, put one right there, put one right here, where the brake pads are going to be making contact, sliding back and forth. If you can see that, I already just made a little tiny dabs right there. Do the same thing to this side, and we are not going to keep the dab the way it is. We're going to take Q-tips, or we're just going to take our fingers and carefully spread the love, okay? There you go. Just spread it on there, spread it on the channel. Spread it back and forth. Make sure you cover all the metal contacts that's going to be coming into contact with those brake pads. Any excess, please wipe them. Use your towel or something to wipe off any of the excess. You just want it to stick onto the metal portion that's going to be making contact. Okay, so there we go. We're going to let this sit for a minute or two. Okay, folks, next we are going to take our caliper off of our workbench and we're going to place it back in here and screw it in with those two short 17 millimeters that we removed prior. We're going to put it back in here. Ah, damn it. I'm trying to find the hole. How many times have you guys tried looking for the hole? And I keep telling my friends, if you don't want to have that problem, stop dating fat chicks. Anyways, there you go. Can't find the damn hole. There you go. Two 17 millimeters. We're going to go ahead and put this caliper back on here, this removable caliper here. At this point, when it starts to get a little snug, you're going to want to start going in by hand, and then you're going to torque it at 77 foot-pounds. We are at 77 foot-pounds here. Okay. "77 foot-pounds. There you go. It is in, and that is what it looks like. Those two bolts that holds this caliper in there is 77 foot-pounds. Okay, next we are going to place our brake pads in here. Here we go. Remember, we did it two different ways. One is round and one has 2 feet platforms. The 2 feet platform is going to be on the outside of your rotor. The round surface area that we sprayed on is going to be on the interior side. Okay, so let's go ahead and install this. I normally like to work myself on the bottom and work myself in and just wiggle it in there. It's a tight fit, but if you mess around with it a little bit, going in at an angle, you're able to get in there. There you go. I had to go in at an angle there. There you go. Okay, there you go. So same thing, I'm going to do the inside portion. You might not see it as well because it's a little dark in there, but I'm going to try. There you go. There you go. Get in there. There you go, guys. There you go. It's in. It's in. It's in. You guys can see it. It's in. Okay, folks. Next, this caliper right here, we're going to be installing it over. As long as you push this piston all the way down until it bottoms out with our special tool, it will fit in here nicely, okay? These two rubber boots right here, that's going to hold in our slide pins, our slide bolts. We bought brand new slide bolts. We're going to be sliding inside these little rubber boots right here. Make sure to push these in when you are navigating this and trying to push this in, okay? You're going to have to take these rubber boots and push them in and let this fall into place, okay? Let's go ahead and go get our slide bolts right now. This is the slide bolts I'm talking about. They take 2 per side, 2 on the driver and 2 on the passenger wheel, okay? Let's go ahead and remove them. And before we install them, we're going to have to lube them up very, very liberally, okay? So I'm not doing a product endorsement, but I have been having a lot of luck on this awesome lube company called Anal. It's a company by Anal, and I think Anal is maybe, I don't know, Middle Eastern or something. Very cool name. But for the sake of this video, I have to follow my sponsors and recommend PISTON brake parts lubricant. We're going to go ahead and put some of this lubricant on here. Okay. This one tube is going to be good for your front and your rear, okay? So you don't overdo it here. Let's go ahead and then you're going to take this and you're going to lube it up very well. Okay. Lube it up good. Okay, now we're going to take this to the vehicle. I'm going to change my glove because it is contaminated with Anal. Make sure both of your brake pads are flat against the rotor. We're going to go ahead and take our caliper right here and slide this in. And these 2 holes right here are going to line up with these 2 rubber boots. In through those rubber boots, we are going to put in our slide pins, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. Make sure our rubber boot is collapsed when we guide this in. Right here, this is what I'm talking about. Collapse your rubber boots. Slide it in. See how easy it slid in? Make sure you get your bottom rubber boot here. Don't squash it. It's got to be nice and conforming so our slide pins go in nicely. Now I'm going to take my top slide pin. I'm going to guide it in. Wiggle it around until you find the hole. Now that's what I normally do when I date fat chicks. And try to catch the first 1 or 2 threads. You're going to have to push it in while you are threading it in. You're going to have to find the thread in here. There you go. At this point, I'm going to get my ratchet to help me along here. Snug it up. Do the same for the bottom. Snug it up. Okay, let's put it on a torque wrench. My 17 millimeter, set it at 65. Done. Now let's go ahead and put our tires back. you go. Try to center the lugs as much as possible so you don't, okay? I am not going to torque it while the car is up, okay? Your wheels are gonna spin on you. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let the car down, okay? Let the car down, but not down all the way, down enough where the rubber is gonna hit the asphalt, where the tire's not gonna move, and then I'm gonna do my torque, because I don't want all that load and all that weight of my vehicle on a wheel that might be a little slanted because I didn't tighten it or it didn't hit the concave of those lug holes the way it should be. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and drop it. We're going to hit it at 89 foot-pounds. Go in a star formation. Once you think you're done, you're going to want to go one more round back just in case you've missed one. And this time around, I am going to not go in a star formation. I am going to go in a circle just to make sure I didn't miss one. We're good. Now we're going to be working on the front. The front, in order to gain access, we're going to spin our steering wheel to the right for this to position outward so we have clear view of it.
Recording. One channel started.
First, we're going to go grab our flathead screwdriver and we're going to remove this top M clip and this bottom M clip. The reason why I'm calling them M clips and Lexus doesn't is because it's in the shape of an M, okay? So you're going to go to this side right here, put your little flathead screwdriver in there and just pop it out of its little hole. This piece right here goes inside of a small hole inside your brake pad here. You're going to do the same thing to the other side. Okay, pop it out. And now it is clear. You could bring it up. Okay, so same thing with the bottom. Take this and pop it out of its hole socket right here. Same thing with this side. Pop it out and I'll spin it outward. Okay, you are going to have another long clip right here. Just one long clip. One side goes inside this hole and another side goes inside this hole. Okay, very easy to do. All you have to do is just take your finger and just pull it out of its hole. Okay, same thing right here. Pull it out of its hole and this whole thing comes out. This thing right here is set inside of a hole right here also. Okay, we're going to set this aside. We are no longer going to use this because we bought brand new ones. Okay, let's put it aside. Now you have this top slide pin. It's a guide pin right here. You're going to pull it out. Hold on to the M clip while you're pulling it out. It's going to fall out. Okay, there you go. Okay, you're gonna pretty much toss this away. It's already grimy, it's already bad, and we also bought brand new ones, okay? What I want you guys to do is take a picture of this. Take a picture of your brake assembly because you're gonna have to put everything back the way it came out. Remember the orientation of all this, okay? So when you pull this out, you're gonna get a letter M. And remember, when you pull it out, the legs are going to be towards you. See this? If you face it this way, the legs are going to be going towards you. It's not on the back side, okay? So when you do put it back, you're going to put it back like this, spring clip it in, just like that. And you're going to put the pins back in, okay? So we're going to throw this away because we bought brand new ones. Same thing with the bottom right here. We're going to hold on to this clip while we push this pin out. Pull it out. Now we're going to take this clip out and we're going to throw it away. From here, we are going to take our brake pads out. It's going to be a little rough because it's been set in there. You're going to take your little flathead screwdriver right here and you're just going to pry it out just like this. Put it through the holes and just pry it out. Okay. And it will eventually slide out. Slide it out just like that. There you go. As you can see, this is still pretty damn brand new, but I'm going to replace it anyways. Same thing with this side. Pull it out. And just wiggle it out of its slot. There you go. Okay folks, this next part of this video, we are going to be removing this whole entire brake caliper assembly, okay? We're going to lay it on top of this pail right here. But in order for us to remove this, we are going to have to remove this bracket right here with a 12mm bolt. This is the bracket that's holding our brake lines. We need that loose in order for us to take this caliper and set it on this blue pail or any type of box that you have to set it on. We're going to take this 12mm, we're going to set it aside. And now this bracket should come loose. There you go, comes off just like this. Now, if you guys follow me on the back side of our calipers right here, we are going to be removing two 19mm. One right here and one right above it. This one right here. These are the two bolts right here. I already loosened them up. This is what I used to loosen them up, a 19mm deep socket and a breaker bar right here. I would leave those bolts in there with a couple of threads just to hold it while I get my blue bucket right here. Place it right next to the caliper. Now I'm going to go ahead and take it out by hand, these 19mm. I'm going to set the whole entire caliper on top of this blue bucket right here. And now I can jimmy this whole entire thing out. I'm going to grab our trusty brake cleaner here and clean this down. I'm also going to do the same thing to our rotors. Wipe it down and let it air dry. Everything's going to evaporate. I also would recommend you guys taking a wire brush or something and brush this down if you see a lot of crust on here and if your car is very old. Mine, I did this on my last brake change, so it's still pretty smooth and pretty clean. I don't need to do it anymore. Make sure you got no contaminants when you put your rotors back on. Now our next step, guys, we are going to be pushing our pistons back into its place. Okay, so how we're going to do this, we are going to take an old brake pad, we're going to put it in place right here. We're going to use this because it has a flat surface plane to help us push both pistons in at the same time. Okay, I'm going to grab a C-clamp and I am just going to tighten until this piston goes back in its home. See that, how it's moving back in? Very easy. It's not even tight at all, folks. I'm just going to go until it bottoms out, as far as it will go. And that's it. I'm going to go ahead and release, take out the brake pad, and I'm going to be doing the exact same thing to this side. Get all the dirt and grime off your rubber seals. Okay, try not to touch the face of your rotors here, the surface. After you just cleaned it, you don't want to get any oil on it. You're going to be placing it back in here. You see how this is not like the rear. The rear is held on by your e-brake pads on the inside, your drum brakes. This is all loose, so nothing's holding it on the inner diameter of this drum right here. So you're going to have to get some of your lug nuts right here to help you out. I normally just go one on the bottom and that should be good enough. You don't need to overdo it by putting two or something. There you go. Holds in place. We need this to be held in place in order to put the caliper assembly back on, okay? So what we're going to do right now is we're going to take those two large 19mm bolts that we removed off right here, these two holes. We're going to be putting this right next to us right here, ready to go, okay? Because now we're going to take this and we're going to line up these two holes with the rest of the brake assembly back here, the shield, and we're going to screw in these 19mm bolts by hand, okay? Okay, tight enough to torque. It's not going anywhere. Let's go get our torque wrench. Let's grab our 19mm, put on a torque wrench. I'm gonna go ahead and put our brake line back here. Take this bracket, line it up with the hole. And you're gonna always want to screw everything in by hand first until it catches a few threads, okay? I normally try to catch 3 or 4 threads just to make sure. And I wiggle around just to make sure it's not going cross-threaded or anything like that. I normally don't bother looking at the foot-pound for 10 or 12mm bolts like this. Okay folks, our next part, we are going to be installing our brake pads, okay? We're gonna go ahead and take our shims out. Remember the part number for the shims? These are the front shims. This bag comes in a pack of 4. These steel shiny shims right here. The black portion, the black surface, goes towards the brake pads. The silver lining right here goes towards the brake calipers, okay? So let's set these two aside, and we're going to be working on these two right here. And if you take a look at this, you're going to have to match it up. You see this rounded portion right here? It's going to go against this rounded portion right here, okay? It's going to go in just like this. How is it going to go in? What we're going to do is we're going to take these clips right here, and we're going to slide it in just like that. Slide it in until it makes contact, until it gets stuck in. The problem with these shims right here, it wasn't like your rear shims where it had another clip right here to overhang and hold on to this portion. Your front one doesn't have that. So we're going to have to work with this. Don't worry, it's not going to fly off or anything, because we are going to be applying our disc brake quiet, okay? So we're going to do a nice thin layer that's going to cover enough surface. You don't want to go too crazy, because you have to remember there's something called squeeze out. Okay, my recommendation is always to go towards these little contact points right here also, because these are going to be shuttering when you do your braking. Okay, here we go. Remember, take these two clips and line it up with the back right here and slide it forward and line up these holes right there. You're going to want to make sure it's on straight and evenly, and you're going to set this aside and let the disc brake quiet get tacky a little bit, okay? Set this aside. We're going to do the same thing for this over here. Okay. There you go. And now we are going to let it sit. I would let it sit for 5 or 10 minutes and let it get tacky, because when you try to slide this into your caliper, this thing's going to be sliding all over the place. You don't want that, all right, guys? Not only do you have to apply this between your shim and the brake pad, you're going to have to apply this where it's going to make contact to your caliper pistons, okay? So you're going to have 2 pistons that's going to hit right here and 2 pistons that's going to hit right here. That's why you don't have to do a whole entire surface. You could just do a roundabout. Spread some with your fingers. You're good to go. The curved part right here is going to go pointing towards the outside. okay? And also, the brake pad part is going to be facing towards the rotor. You're going to be holding your shim and your brake pad, and you're going to be sliding it in this slot. Holding it and sliding into the slot. Push down on these clips right here so it doesn't slide out on you. And just push it all the way in until it falls into place. Bam! You're done. Now you're going to be doing the exact same thing to this side. If you're going to push it where these clips are right here. Just remember, guys, these two holes have to line up with the two holes on your brake pads. If they don't line up, I'd like to take my little flat head right here and just take this and just bring it out or in as needed. There you go. Stick it in the hole right here and just weasel it out until it lines up. There you go. Now it's lined up. Same thing with this side. I pushed it a little too far in. You have these holes right here to help you. There you go. There. Next step, we are going to take our M clips. Here's the part number. We're going to take both our M clips that comes in one bag. We're going to do the top first here. Remember what we said, right? Face the M with the legs towards you. See how it loops right here? Towards you. What we're going to do is we're going to take these two loops right here and they're going to match up with the holes up here. Okay? That's all there is to it. The next step, we're going to get our slide pin. Here is our slide pin. There's the part number right there for you. And I believe one bag comes with 4 slide pins. We're going to get these slide pins. And we're going to lube them up. I got my PISTON brake parts lubricant right here. Folks, so don't get shy with this, guys. Lube it up really good. Okay. And at the end of this pin, you're going to have a hole. Make sure that hole is facing you because you're going to have to utilize that hole to put in your long pin. Okay, so let's slide it in here. In the back of the M clip. Did you guys get that? You guys get that? Now we're going to take the end of this clip right here and we're going to slide it in the hole of our brake pad. There you go. See, that was easy. I did it without even getting hurt. Now you can do the same for this side. Bam! You should have a spring right here. See how the pin slides and this M clip loops behind the pin, over the pin, and through this hole and this hole. Okay, so we're going to do the exact same thing for the bottom now. We're going to put it right here, let it sit a little bit. We're going to grab our M clip. Here's our M clip. This is going to be an upside down M and the leg is going to be facing you. So I got to turn this around. Okay, so we're going to put the spring clips inside right here so the slide pins can slide right through. There you go. See how that hole is facing me? We're going to need access to that hole a little later. Slide it all the way through to the other side. Same thing right here. We're going to take this and put it inside the hole. There you go. Spring. Okay, one last thing, guys. So we are going to put on this spring clip. Okay, this spring clip, this bag only comes with 2 spring clips, one per side, one long per side. So how do you do this? So you see this piece right here? It's gonna go inside this hole. But while it goes inside that hole, these 2 sides have to go inside these 2 holes for their slide pins. It's a lot easier if you just do one at a time. Take this, put it inside the hole, and this is why it was so important to have this hole facing you. Put it in there. Okay, now you could spin this back and forth any way you want, okay, because you put a lot of grease on here. Now you're going to take this and put it inside this hole. Okay. And while you're doing all this, you're going to take this and shove it inside the center hole. There you go. Done. After you're done with your brakes, go inside your vehicle. Pump your brakes for a little bit. Turn off your vehicle. Now the last phase of our brake job is looking at where the brake fluid is right now. Remember when we pushed back our piston, it pushed all the fluid back into this reservoir, and now it looked like it passed the line right there. Now we're gonna have to take out some brake fluid and dump it somewhere, right? So we're gonna have a syringe right here where I'm gonna pull out brake fluid and I'm gonna put it into a pail until it goes below that line. Make sure your car is leveled when you do this portion, okay? Okay guys, after we're done with our brake job, I want you guys to put back your front wheels, torque them at 89 foot-pounds. I want you guys to go in the vehicle, start your vehicle, press on the brakes, pump on them a few times, 10 times. Okay, take your vehicle out for a spin at every single intersection. I want you to do soft brakes, I want you to do medium brakes, I want you to do hard brakes. What we're looking for is inconsistencies in your braking. We want to look for squeals. We want to see if your brake pedal bottoms out to the floor. We want to see if there's some weird shuddering. And when you bring your car back to the driveway, I want you to open up your hood and check your brake reservoir again and take a look at the fluid level. Did it change? If it changed and it's significant, you're going to want to jack up your vehicle, take off your wheels, and check your brake lines again. Something somewhere went wrong. You're leaking somewhere, okay? So ensure this square box you're driving that's going to carry your whole entire family is going to be safe after you've done your brake job, because the brakes is a crucial element in your day-to-day driving, especially long trips, okay? So there's one last thing I wanted to bring up. So after reading so many comments over the years, I soon came to realize that there are GX owners with lower IQs than a doorknob. What I'm referring to is somewhere in the middle of my video, I was recommending you guys use something called a now lube to grease your brake pins and brake hardware. Folks, that was only a joke, okay? I'm not even gay, except for that one time in college when I failed my 4th year calculus exam, and I asked the professor after class if there was anything I can do for him to pass me in that class. And that was, I swear, that was the very first and the last time I experienced ass to mouth. A lot of you guys probably think that's some sick ass shit, but I'm letting you guys know right now, don't knock it till you try it, man. You guys gotta try everything at least once in your life before you die. And I don't even know why we're talking about this. We're talking about brake systems right now, guys. So please, please, please do not use a now lube to grease your brake hardware, or else your brakes will seize over time. Your GX460 will flip over in a fire crash on the side of the freeway somewhere with your whole entire family on the way to Disneyland. And then I'm going to show up in court and they'll be like, it's his fault, it's his fault. And I'm like, I have no fucking idea what you're talking about. And they're going to bring up this brake video, and it's going to be me telling you guys to put anal lube on your brake hardware. So guys, joke, 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 okay? Oh, one last thing, guys. I need to add this. One last advice before I sign off. If you go ahead and Google any torque spec for anything on your vehicle right now, you're going to be biting tooth and nail trying to find it. And the only thing you're going to find is probably a spec to a Toyota 4Runner because it's all over the place, all over the forums. If you look for the torque specs for all of your caliper hardware and your mounting bolts for your brake systems on a Lexus GX460, I promise you, you will not find it in the internet universe. It's not there. It doesn't exist. What I can help you with is how to find it the easiest way on where I go to for everything on my Lexus GX460. Back in the day when I owned a 2011 Lexus GX460, I bought a Lexus manual for a 2012 Lexus GX460 from a online website called emanualonline.com. They have your Lexus GX460 right there, and I believe they only have it up to a 2012, but I have been using that 2012 for everything on my 2017. Your 2014 is going to be the same as the 2017, same thing as the 2012 when it comes to an oil change, transmission oil change, and even brakes, okay? So I am going to show you where I found the torque specs for all of our brake hardware. If you scroll down here with me, here is this page right here. It shows you exactly where the torque specs are for the caliper and the mounting bracket for the caliper. Now, if you go on Google, try it. You're not going to find it, guys. Emanualonline.com. I will send you that, guys, the link. And I believe they're having a 30% off sale right now. And the Lexus manual, the official Lexus manual for emanualonline.com is only like $35 without the discount. Now add another 30% off, you're set. Your Lexus GX460 is set for life. Just go ahead and Control F on that website. Type any keyword you want and it's going to take you directly to the page that is going to refer to your keyword. And that's how I was able to find my torque specs for this GX460.